Hello everyone, welcome once again to another tutorial by Slidescope related to Power BI. We are continuing our analysis on Titanic data set and we are learning Power Query, and in this tutorial we will try to understand pivot table or pivot operations in Power BI with Titanic dataset examples. So we already have connected the Titanic dataset where we have passenger ID, survived, P class, gender, age, sibling spouse, parent child, and so on, and we have embarked value. So we have many categorical columns here, like P class is a categorical column, survived is a categorical column, whether the person was able to survive or not. These are all, this is a true false type data. So what we have to do here is we can simply click on home here and go to transform data to open the Power Query editor, and which will open Power Query editor for us. And here you can see we have different columns here. So first, if you are performing data cleaning, so in Titanic dataset you can see the cabin column has very few number of valid values. So this is a column that you can remove. So you can remove this column. This way you will have uh, you know some valid columns left. Now in age also you can see we have a null value. Okay, so what we can do here is we can replace values, and the value that we have to find is null. Okay, and the value that we can replace is mean of age. So somehow if we can find the mean of age, then we can replace it easily. So if we go to, again, if we go to our data of Titanic, and here if we select age, and here if we instead of sum of age, if we select median age, or if we select the average age, so you can see the average is 29.72. What we can do manually is here we can replace all the missing values. So we have to find null and we have to use with 29.70. So this way we will replace it in age also. And let's see the embarked. In embarked you can see we have values here, and if you will go down, or if you will sort these values, so let's sort these values. So by clicking on this simple arrow here, you can sort descending or ascending, and you can see. So here also, in if in this column also you find null values, you can replace them with some value. Okay, here you can see we have blank values here. So for these blank values, what we can do is we can right click here and we can do replace values. You also have advanced option match entire cell content, replace using special characters. So what we are doing here is we will find the blank values and replace them with S, because S appears more time than any other town here. Okay, so we will replace with S. So these are some steps that you can perform in data cleaning. Obviously, how do we know that we have to replace missing values with S is if you will select embarked here. So in embarked, let's remove age from here. So in embarked, if you will select passenger ID, so it will give you count of passenger ID, and in this data you can simply see, obviously we have 644 passengers that were traveling from S, the town S. It is Southampton, C is Cherbourg, and Q is Queenstown. So this way, this was a simple step for data cleaning, but we are trying to understand pivot table here, and actually before applying pivot table we are making sure that we don't have any missing values. So in one of our videos in our series we explained that pivot table is helpful in summarizing data grouping, filtering and customization. For example, we gave an example. Suppose we have two categorical columns, region and product, and you want to find the sum of sales by region and product. So you can apply pivot on them. So in pivot you select one column as row and one column as column. So values inside the product column became columns here, like laptop, desktop, tablet, our product names become column here, and region values become rows here. So this way we will have a table like this. Let's try to do something similar in Titanic. So a general idea in Titanic is to find out, how many person were able to survive. So from survived point of view, like gender wise and you know class wise, passenger class wise, and different type of categorical variables can be taken into account. But the first thing that you have to do is you have to select your column that you want to apply pivot on. So this column is survived, and basically values in this column will be treated as new columns. For example, in this column there are 0 and 1. These are the two values we have. So a column named 0 or 1 may be created. Now to apply pivot on this, you have to go to transform, and in transform you have to select pivot column. This uses names in the currently selected column to create new columns. Tables with nested column are not supported here. So what you will do is you will select pivot, and next is it is asking your value column. Okay, so in we are selecting passenger ID because passenger ID will actually tell us the count of passenger IDs. Okay, so make sure you have to select a particular column which is numerical, or if even if it is not numerical, then you are selecting the aggregate function properly. Since passenger ID is a unique number given to each passenger, we cannot apply sum on it. We have to use count all. We will not use count, which is not blank. We will use the count aggregate function here. And when you will click OK, so what you will see here, you will see 0 and 1 is created. Okay, so for every that means this is survived 0, this is survived 1, and here you are actually seeing some values. Now for further usage, what you can do is, since we know that people who cannot survive is 0, so we can write died and rename this to alive. Okay, so we will do this and go to home. For now, close in apply, and it is loading the model, and you will see new columns here, died and alive. Okay, so let's remove these fields for now. Now you can see the passenger ID is gone, and instead of that passenger ID we have died and alive. If you wanted to keep that passenger ID, what you can do is you can create or duplicate a column and then perform the same operation. But what will we get with died and alive is, if you will click it died and if you will click alive together, then you will find some of them. So you can now see that 549 people died and 342 were alive. You can verify them with the help of other columns also. But this is what The first thing that we can do with the help of the transformation that we have done so far. Okay. Suppose in Power Query Editor we for doing transformation for anything we have to add a column. So you can add a custom column, invoke column function, column from example, and here you will see an index column. So this index column will have all the necessary values, you know. So index column will have unique index ID for each customer here. Let's remove this for now. And here in index column you have another option that you can add the index from 1. So now we can rename it as PID. So suppose by some error our passenger ID column was deleted, or suppose it was not there. So in that case what you can do, you can use an index column to generate a unique ID for each row. Okay, now we have PID, and we can go to home. Instead of closing and applying, we can apply. Then we can switch the tab, and now you have the PID here. Okay, suppose we select this. So let's say we already have the survived column. So you can see the survived column is also now gone. So here you can, what you can do is you can select this and select pie chart. So then you will have this. So this is how you can do that. And now you know that in alive and in dead you will have a sum of values. Sum of values will represent number of people alive and number of people dead. Another type of visualization that you can create with the help of these pivoted columns is you can create a table here, and in your table you can select the columns as P class. We can select columns as alive. We can select dead, and we can select gender. So now you will have this table with you where it is showing you sum of P class. Obviously P class is something that is a numerical column, so non-numerical column. So you have to use don't summarize this. Okay, and now you have this kind of table. What is this showing you? On row you have on one row you have P class, on one column you have P class, on one column you have gender, and it is giving you P class 1. Sum of alive is 91, sum of died is 3 if the gender is female. In P class 1 there are 45 alive people, 77 dead people, male. This is for male. So this way in one report you can visualize a lot of things, and this is with the help of pivot column which we did on survived. These are actually 0 and 1 values, right? So the the survived column has two values, or had two values, 0 and 1, which we called as died and alive, and we applied sum as our aggregate function, and we have this data. Suppose you want to use any other function like count, you can use that also. Now if you want to see the data with more details, you can switch it to the matrix view. Now what you can see is you have uh, gender here, which is female and male. So female and male and total. So you have one index as your gender or sex, and you have one index as your P class. So on your row index, you have one index which you are seeing as P class values 1, 2, and 3. And on your column index, the first index is your sex, which is female and male, your sex column, which is female and male. And second index is sum of alive, sum of died, sum of alive, sum of died. So here you can see, if you will select this, this is all female, and in passenger class 1, 91 alive, 3 died. In passenger class 2, 70 alive, 6 died. In passenger class 3, 72 alive, 72 died. So you can see that in passenger class 1, the probability of a female getting survived is very high. On the other hand, in male, you can see 45-77. So the ratio is opposite here. Like number of people who died are more in passenger class 1 in case of male. So in all cases in male, the number of people dying are more. But when you will see the overall data, the total data, and that is what your matrix visual does. So you can add these values additionally, and it also shows you the total. Okay, so this is what is shown in a pivot table. If you see from previous example also, the grand total rows are also, the grand total column and grand total rows are also created. So this can be easily achieved by just pivoting one column and using the matrix like this. Here you can see 136 alive, 130 and 80 died in passenger class 1. That means more people were actually alive in passenger class 1, because these people uh, had cabins and traveling in passenger class 1, so they were near to the lifeboats, and the socio-economic advantage was also there. So there were a lot of factors. So female were given priority and they were saved more than male, and people traveling in passenger class 1 with higher fare were saved more. So these are some conclusions that you can make from just one table with the help of pivot transformation in Power BI using Power Query Editor. Suppose you want to see only for passenger class 1. Okay, so what you can do is you can say, let's use P class as a filter. So item when value is 1, let's apply. So it will show you only for that class.